Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Medium and YouTube channel. Jumping straight into it, we're talking about the black sheep of the MCU, the Incredible Hulk film. Well, some people call it the black sheep of the MCU. I tend to agree with that somewhat. We're going to just talk about this film, different things about it in terms of review kind of elements, and why you might want to go back and watch it again. Maybe this kind of builds up that want in you to be able to, let me revisit that. I haven't seen that in a while. But also this is part of the series that we're doing to build up and to build towards Avengers Doomsday as well. So hopefully going to be able to cover as many MCU films before December. And then, kind of help us all to kind of remember what's happened up to this point, so we can get extra hyped and all of that stuff. So we're going to jump straight into it. I'm going to talk about a few different points from the film that I liked, a few things I didn't so much like, but it's not a review per se, it's more just kind of a look back, a retrospective if you will. So we'll jump straight into it. Why I think this film is the black sheep of the MCU. So I think that a lot of it has to do with tone. The film felt a lot more grounded in realism, a lot less colourful, a lot less quippy, a lot less kind of, serious, but we're not so serious because there's a joke every 5 seconds. It was a lot more just serious, a lot more, it felt a lot more realistic because of that. There was a lot of tension as well in the film, especially with Edward Norton's performance and his mannerisms as Bruce Banner. All of that kind of stuff made you feel a lot more sympathetic to him, but also a lot more tense as to what was going to happen to him next, which I really liked. You could kind of tell that this was a time where Marvel hadn't really figured out what people now call the Marvel formula. They were still finding their feet in terms of cinematography, sound design, CG, stories. Even the way that their narratives play out was very different then, and I think it worked. If I'm honest, I think even though I like Mark Ruffalo, I like his performance as the Hulk. This version of the Hulk I prefer. He's way more strong, way more convincing as a powerful character. Whereas Mark Ruffalo's one, I'm just like, well, I'm just waiting to see him lose, because he loses more than he wins, which is ridiculous considering he's the Hulk, one of the most powerful comic book superheroes like ever. Which is, saying that almost makes me want to chuckle, because if you just know about MCU, you wouldn't believe that statement. But anyway, I like the kind of juxtaposition of Norton's Bruce Banner being kind of this desperate fugitive who's, just seems to constantly be nervous under an immense amount of stress. But he's got the Hulk hidden within him that can help him to, get out of wiry situations or tough spots, and is feared by many people for good reason. Like, he's like, this guy is terrifying. I don't feel that's quite the same with Mark Ruffalo's one, but that's one of the things I definitely liked about this film. The physicality, especially of the Hulk in this film, is like, wow, man, this is the guy. Like, this is terrifying. And I really liked the kind of, well, some people may argue that it's body horror, but kind of the the scenes where he's transforming into the Hulk, it looks like it's painful, and it's like this really grotesque process that's not so much seen going forward in the MCU. After that, Hulk just becomes big and turns green, and it's like there's none of this bone crunchy sounds, and like part of his skin looking like it's green, and it's like they really slowed down the transformation to make it look more physical and horrific, which I think is actually a good thing as well. I think it definitely makes a difference going forward, because then we see Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, as impressive as it was in Avengers 1, where he just turned it on to fight the Leviathan. That was insanely cool, don't get me wrong, but it just kind of felt like he doesn't feel anything anymore. But maybe you could argue that's a narrative progression for Bruce Banner. He's gotten to a point where he doesn't have to go through this painful transformation anymore. He's so in sync with the Hulk side, he just turns it on and off, which is quite cool. And the idea of that, I think. Like I said, we're jumping quite quickly through this whole thing because I don't want to have you sitting here all day listening to me prattle on. But I did think Tim Roth's performance as another cast member was really, really good. And the villain, Abomination, I think was also very, very good. I think that final showdown, the final battle they have is really, really good. The CG is looking a bit long in the tooth now, only because of how far we've come. I mean, you look at films like the Super Mario Galaxy film. Well, I mean, I say that, but even films like Transformers back in the day, the CG even now looks absolutely top tier. But then you can once again go back to Marvel hadn't really figured out how they wanted everything to look and how much they were going to put into it in terms of their CGI standards and the level of it. So it's okay. I won't say that the film looks terrible or that the CG is terrible. It's just it's not perhaps as good as it could be or should be, but you have to think of it in terms of the perspective or in the time lens in which it was made. So it's forgivable, shall we say that? Let's just say that. Unfortunately though, I feel like this film did suffer a little bit from the villain problem that the MCU still kind of has. But it wasn't as bad in a way that certain films in the early MCU, you just killed off the villain. Like, there's no coming back, he dies. Like, the only way to defeat them is to kill them. Whereas this film didn't do that. So it allowed for, as terrible as it was, the She-Hulk show to have Abomination there again, because he still exists. So it was kind of like, that was another good thing I think it's set in terms of setting a precedent of you don't have to keep killing off villains. It's good to keep them around so you can bring them back and have them continue in the world that the MCU is supposed to inhabit, so that we have more characters within it that don't have to constantly be introduced. You can just reintroduce them because they still exist, which is quite nice. An interesting thing I thought, looking back on this film and then looking forward, especially in terms of certain characters, I think the MCU is only now kind of revisiting a lot of the stuff that this film laid the groundwork for, in terms of, General Ross coming back in the Captain America film. Unfortunately, it wasn't the late William Hurt reprising his role, but Harrison Ford filling in for the role, and then he's taking up the mantle as the Red Hulk. I think that's really, really cool, and the fact that that's kind of a long play, that they've kind of had that in the background running for so long, and it finally was done. I haven't seen Captain America 4, so I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, they did it excellently or they did it badly. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch that film. I haven't considered it. But even the introduction of the leader as well, at the end of the MCU, not the MCU, at the end of the Incredible Hulk as well, I think it's good because it showed that the MCU hadn't forgotten about him because he appeared again in Captain America 4, which was good. And I think that's another problem that could easily arise with the MCU, and has in part. You have a lot of characters who appear and like, oh, it would be so cool to see them again, and you never see them again. Or they are completely somehow detached from the main story. It's like Shang-Chi. He was introduced to Hulk, and Hulk was like, yeah, bro. Or Bruce Banner was like, yeah, man, we're getting the band together, in it. Like, what you saying, my G? Him and, I've forgotten her character's name, but is it Aquafina? Yeah, I don't know if I pronounced that right. But they both went off with him, and we haven't seen them since. Like, did Hulk eat them? I don't know, because we've not heard them. We've not even heard mention of them, and there's been a few projects since. So it would have been nice to at least know that they still are about. And these are supposed to be Avengers, and we don't know where they are, which is a little bit silly, but okay, fair enough. It would have been nice to have seen him interact with, Hulk now, by the way. I'm not talking about Shang-Chi. It would have been nice to have seen Hulk interact with more characters, maybe in the Captain America film, especially with the leader being involved. But yeah, I think the swap from, of course, the big recasting, I've almost completely left it out, was, of course, Ed Norton to Mark Ruffalo. And I think they both have a lot of pros and cons. I think Ed Norton's performance, like I said, was very different to Mark Ruffalo's, in a way that he seems a lot more tense, a lot more stressed, a lot more scared almost. Or not that he's scared of people, but he's scared of what he could do if he's around people. afraid of the power that he has because he knows how insane it is. Whereas Mark Ruffalo's now, he's gotten to a point where he's almost just like, the Hulk's a part of me. I can't get rid of it. I don't want to get rid of it. But like, he's there, innit? And like, when I need him, I call upon him. But when I don't, kind of thing. And I think that's cool, that we've gotten to a point where he's moved beyond just being, you know, like Savage Hulk or even Incredible to like Professor Hulk now, which is quite nice to see the Hulk's character also get a development as well as Bruce Banner's. But I leave you with a question, and you can of course answer it in the comments. What would you prefer to see going forward, or even from, you know, if they do ever make a Hulk film again? Probably won't, but we'll see. What would you think they should use going forward? A Savage Hulk, a more feral, you know, aggressive, scary Hulk, or should they continue with this Maestro Professor Hulk kind of direction? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and of course please don't forget to share, like and subscribe and all of that lovely stuff, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next video. I'm not sure when that will be. Of course I know when it will be. It'll be next week. But yes, please take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.